Hello everyone, my name is Pukar Dhital. I'm an English instructor and today we'll be going through Grade 7 English. We'll be covering the chapter Instructions. So let's begin the class.
Now have a closer look at this picture. Have you made anything similar to this? I'm sure by looking at the picture you've all figured out what this picture is all about. Isn't this a paper plane? So this is a paper plane, right? And look at this picture of a paper plane. Ask a friend if he or she can make a plane as shown in the picture. So the very idea is you can have around 5 minutes time and discuss with one another. And what you're discussing here is perhaps you are telling your friend how to make a paper plane. Like what kind of paper you need, how do you fold it, alright, and what sort of folding you have to go through to make a paper plane, and finally how you give it a final touch, alright, until your paper plane is ready. Okay, so this is more like an activity which you can do it in the classroom. It's more like talking. You're giving instructions, telling your friends how to make a paper plane. Okay, I'm sure you've discussed about how to make a paper plane. Have you figured out like what you had said, how you should be instructing so that someone can make paper plane on the basis of the instruction you have given? Okay, it's more about giving instruction to your friend. Now let's move ahead. Here I have some word here, and here is the meaning. Okay, now in a while I'll be reading a passage. You know what? The passage is about making a kite, and these words that you see here are from the passage which I'll be reading in a while. So for now, what we have to understand is here the words are given and its meanings are here. And of course, how do you figure out the meaning? You can always take help from dictionary. Now look at this. Breeze. Breeze means a gentle wind. Pleasant. Pleasant means giving a sense of happy satisfaction or enjoyment. Splint. A long thin strip of wood. Diagonal. Joining two opposite corners. Fin. A flattened limb usually in fish which helps in swimming. Bridle. A rope to control the movement of something. Now, well, before I move on to these questions, alright, I want to give you a technique which will help you significantly to improve your vocabulary words. Okay, so, and the technique is, let's pick up word here. Let's pick up the word breeze, for instance. Okay, so what you do is, so remember we picked up the word breeze. Now this is what I call vocabulary word. Okay, now this will help you significantly to improve your vocabulary. Now here we go. Remember the word is breeze. So first what you do is, word is breeze. Now its meaning. In this case, the meaning is given right here, but remember, every time you come across words whose meaning you do not know, always look at dictionary, or these days we have mobile dictionary, and you can make best help of, or take best help of mobile dictionary, alright? It also helps you to pronounce the words. Now, a gentle wind is what we call breeze, and we all love this breeze, don't we? We all love breeze, in fact, don't we? Now, what we do is, after we write a word and after we write a meaning, and what we now go for is part of speech. Now, in this case, it's part of speech is noun, and part of speech is always given in the dictionary next to the meaning or next to the word, okay? And finally, what you write here is sentence from the book. Now, this, as the title says, sentence from the book, meaning now we got to look for this word breeze in the passage and then write that very sentence here. That will help us. See, now we know the meaning. Now we know the word. Now we also know the meaning. Now that we know the word and the meaning, let's try to put it in the sentence. And, sentence from the book will help us greatly to understand how that word is used in the sentence. Now, right in the passage that I'm about to read, the very first sentence, you can find the word breeze. When Dasai approaches, there is a gentle breeze in the air. See, sentence from the book. When Dasai approaches, there is a gentle breeze in the air. See, we copied it as it is in the passage. Now, finally, sentence of my own. Now, here as well, like the title suggests, sentence of my own. How we are going to use the word breeze in sentence of our own. Here you have to make your own sentence, of course. Alright? Now, in sentence of my own, you can write, make a sentence of your own. Can you make it? Maybe I'll give you a minute time and you can make a sentence of your own in the classroom. And then finally, I'll give you a sentence here. Right? Now, let's try it here. When we reached the top of the hill, the bridge welcomed us. Welcomed us. All right, meaning there was a lovely bridge on top of the hill. Okay, so when we reached the top of the hill, the bridge welcomed us. So this is how you build up your vocabulary. All right, this technique, you can use it, and you can, you know what, to master this technique, you can have a diary of your own, for instance. You can make your own diary, and whenever you read English and whenever you come across new words, all right, whenever you come across new words, what to do is you quickly follow this format. You go for word and meaning and part of speech and sentence from the book and finally sentence of my own. All right, this will help you to a great deal to improve your vocabulary. Okay, so now let's move further and read the chapter. Making a kite. When dusk approaches, there is a gentle breeze in the air. Remember the sentence which I just made? See, I got that sentence right from here. Okay, the weather is pleasant and you want to go out and enjoy it. What would be more fitting than to fly a kite? Before we fly a kite, it is a good idea to learn how to make one. Let's look at these steps to make a fighter kite. Now see, what we are making here is a fighter kite. So what are the materials you need to make a fighter kite? What you need? A white piece of square paper or plastic about 40 by 40 centimeter. 2 thin bamboo splints. One is the same length of the diagonal of the paper. The other is a little longer. Small pieces of paper, glue, and string. Now take the piece of paper. Now how you make it? Okay, so take the piece of paper and the shorter bamboo splint. Remember, you have 2 bamboo splint here. All right, stick the splint along the diagonal with the help of a glue and the small pieces of paper. Now take the longer bamboo splint, bend it, and stick across the other diagonal with the help of glue and pieces of paper. Your kite should look somewhat like this. See, by this time, so what you do here is, so here you put a splint, one splint here and the other splint here. See? And of course here you have the paper, and you're using the square paper and this somewhat in this format. Okay, forget my figure here. Oh, see, I'm sure you still can catch me hopefully. Now here you go. So far, so you just put this stick right straight. It must go straight, by the way, straight as a light. Okay, straight right through here. And the other one is here, see? Now let's look at the third one. Here's the better picture, by the way, okay? Make 2 tiny holes on both sides of the splint, the center of the paper. Choose the diagonal where the straight bamboo splint is. Now make 2 tiny holes where the 2 bamboo splints meet. So you make a hole here, maybe red for hole, or maybe blue. So you make a hole where the 2 splinters are meeting, right? And one somewhere around here. Assuming that this is the splint. See? Here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go. Now make tiny holes where the 2 bamboo splints meet. Here you go. Then cut a piece of the string about 40 centimeters long, insert it through the holes that you have made and tie it. The string should now make a triangle shape when you hold it up. This is called the bridle of the kite. Tie the spool of string to it. Finally, add a small fin to the tail of your kite. Take 2 pieces of triangle-shaped paper. Take 2 small thin pieces of bamboo sticks and paste it to make a fin. Fin means here we're talking about the tail of a kite. Alright, tail of a kite. See, like this. The fin should be at the end of the straight bamboo splint. Does your kite look something like this? Now this is how your kite should look by now, if you're following the instructions properly. Okay, and remember the triangle bridle we're talking about? Alright, it must give you something like shape, something like this. Okay, and from here again, you'll attach it to the main thread. Okay, so this is the instruction here has been given to make a kite. Let's move further. Finally, add a small fin to the tail of your kite. Take 2 pieces of triangle-shaped paper. Take 2 small thin pieces of bamboo sticks and paste it to make a fin. The fin should be at the end of the straight bamboo splint. Does your kite look something like this? You just did it. Now you're ready to fly your kite. There are many types of kites. the types of kite that we fly in Nepal is called fighter kite. Now, the one which we fly these days is called fighter kite. And don't forget that, sadly, this kite flying tradition is declining even in Nepal. I mean, if you talk about 10 or 15 years ago, my goodness, during the time of Dasai, the sky literally used to be full of kites. To the extent that, if you look up in the sky, you'd see kites everywhere, literally everywhere. And they are fighter kites because they are literally fighting with one another. And all right, and then some wonderful kite flyers would cut the thread of other kites, and it's a very fun game. In fact, this saddens me to see these days no kite in the sky during our festival Dasai. All right, because we fly kite in Dasai, by the way, because the weather is perfect, the breeze is lovely, like what I read earlier, right? So there are many reasons why. Of course, one is to celebrate Dasai, all right, but much importantly, I would say it's because the breeze is lovely and the weather is just too perfect to fly a kite. But never mind, let's continue, all right? Now, it is a type of kite that you can make from the instructions above. Kites can be shaped like a bird or an animal. It can also be box-shaped or pyramid-shaped. Kites have been flown in China since thousands of years ago. It used to be a part of festival celebrations. The idea of flying kites spread to other South Asian countries and rest of the world from there. In those days, kites were made of silk or leaves. Imagine, wow, 6,000 or 5,000 years ago, kites, or 3,000 years ago, kites that were made of silk or leaves. Wow. Men had seen birds fly since a long time back. Flying the kite was perhaps the nearest thing to flying in those days. Now that we've read the instructions here, a bit of history on a kite here, by the way, and all right. So if we are to move ahead to do the exercises, here's the first one. Arrange the given instructions in the proper order, meaning, all right, as you make kite, whatever comes first, you'll have to put that in the first order, all right? For instance, the first, I'm going to help you with 2. Okay, I'm going to help you with 3, all right? So what comes first is, first I'll take a time to read all these 5 statements, okay? And after that, let's start numbering it. And the idea is that if it comes first, and when you do your answer, you must write that in first place. Maybe what you can do is, if this is a margin, right, and just write number A, and then, or rather, write number 1, because that comes first, and A, because this A comes first. Bend and stick the long bamboo stick across a diagonal. Okay, and number 2 would be, say this would be number 2. Make 2 tiny holes at the 2 sides of the central splint. Okay, and finally, what do you think is number 3? So far, this is 1, this is 2, and number 3 is make 2 holes where the splints meet. Of course, now you got to figure out what is 5 and what is 4. Okay, I'm sure you can do this. Let's move further. Now, on the basis of what I had read just now, all right, let's answer the questions. Okay, now the first question is, what would perfectly fit with flying a kite? What would perfectly fit with flying a kite? Your answer? Now, of course, for all these questions, remember the answer lies right in the passage. So you got to read passages again and again. So maybe you can take some time to figure out the answer, okay, before I help you with the answer. Gentle breeze in the air and pleasant weather would perfectly fit with flying a kite. And that's why we fly kite in Dasai, because see, in Dasai we really do have a wonderful breeze and the weather is lovely. A gentle breeze in the air and pleasant weather would perfectly fit with flying a kite. Okay, now I'm going to do one more. Number B, write the name of the kite that you learned to make. Write the name of the kite that you learned to make. Remember how clever you are answering this. The name of the kite that I have learned to make is fighter kite. The name of the kite that I've learned to make is fighter kite. Now, one more question is here. I will again help you with one more question, okay? You must see, where did the kite flying start? Where did the kite flying start? The kite flying. Remember, it's asked in simple past. Alright, so the verb must be changed to simple past. The kite flying, in this case, start. Okay, the kite flying started. See, we took it to simple past because the question is asked in simple past. The kite flying started in China. The kite flying started in China almost The kite flying started in China since thousands of years. The kite flying started in China since thousands of years ago. Now, to understand the technique of how these questions are done, alright, and on the basis of that, I'm sure you can do the homework which I'm about to give you now. Okay? On this, you can do it as your homework. Number 1. Which weather is more appropriate to fly kites? What should you do before you fly a kite? Number C is interesting. Let's remember, all the answers lie right in the passage. Okay, so you got to read passages again and again. If you did not find answer, if you cannot find the answer, read again to get the answers correct. List the things that you need to make a kite. What shape should the kite be? And finally, what were the kites in the long past made of? Okay, so these are the questions, all right, which I'm giving you as a homework. And of course, to get these answers, to get the answers to these questions, remember, you'll have to read the passage again to figure out the answer. And I'm sure you can do it, all right? Even if you have to read the passage twice or thrice or more than 3 times, don't worry. That's okay. Because remember, the answer lies right in the passage. So thank you very much. And if you have any queries, please feel free to email us at learning@deerwalk.edu.np. Thank you.